You found Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars podcast, and we have a packed episode for you this week. Everything Han Solo movie related. Why do we have a mix-up with the directors? Also, what is a Ron Howard Star Wars film going to look like? Well, we'll investigate. And we have our first piece of fan art given to us. We're really excited about it. We're going to unveil that and a lot more information coming up as we head in Beyond the Blast Doors. It is episode 6 of Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars podcast. We are the fastest growing Star Wars podcast in the Midwest because it's just us. I'm David Amlotti, your host, and joining with me are three other very dedicated, passionate Star Wars fans who are very patient with technical difficulties. Jesse, Buck, Mando Fury, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing fantastic. Absolutely great. We're getting all the tech problems sorted out, so that's exciting too.
One of these days we'll have a professional quality thing going on.
Jesse, why are you making it sound like it was a complete snafu the last 23 minutes?
I know, right?
It's almost like we had to re-record this like twice.
We are overcoming obstacles. And speaking of obstacles, David Gilbert, you are one obstacle after the other. How are you?
I am fantastic.
I don't even know
Just
what...
got done with a week of camping. I'm not used to like lights and like clean water and stuff.
See, that's an obstacle, not having clean water.
Thanks.
You need that.
I know.
Wait, you're a Boy Scout. Don't you just like put the water over the fire and like clean it,
That's
sanitize
a whole
it?
other podcast, David.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're keeping you for this one. Nick, how are you, friend? Roommate?
I finally moved, and so I'm done, and so I can stop hating my life, because I was basically the worst, 36 hours of my life. But we're past it now.
If you look on this side of the camera, everything looks about normal. You know, the four of us are here. We have this really nice prop that Jesse has put on our set. We'll talk about that later. All the usual. Behind us, enough PC parts to build, 3 computers?
At least 4.
At least 4.
Yeah.
There's a couple cameras just laying around.
I have a box of just motherboards back there. I have 30 motherboards, so...
And we're just finding a place to store all of Nick's stuff.
It's the BB-8 Christmas lights that caught my attention.
Those don't belong on the set.
Which makes me really excited, though, for not that right now, but he was talking about it earlier, a Christmas-themed
Can we do
setup.
a Christmas in July? Is that something we can do?
I think we hit our first Christmas first, then we'll...
Please.
Somebody save me. Today has been hellacious. We have so much to cover. First off, a couple of things. Before I just want to say a quick thanks to Steve Hyman because you're about to see, if you're watching us on YouTube, you're actually going to see all of our graphics revamped. He does all our animation work. And Steve, you do a great job, and thank you so much. Also, Nathan Greno is a director for Walt Disney Studio Animation, or Walt Disney Animation Studio. One of the two, right? He is an incredible guy. He has incredible art on Instagram. You can check his stuff out right now. He submitted a piece to us. Not submitted, but he gave us a piece for us to feature on his set. So we haven't opened it. We don't know what it is. I think it's right here, actually. Yeah, it's right here. Ooh, that's what he said. He said, to be on the Blast Doors, the best. So we're going to find out his best coming up later in the cast. Because if we were to show you now, there's no point for you to keep watching for that thing, right? So we have a loaded podcast, Star Wars.
News.
Kind of a newscast.
It is.
I think real talk this week is going to be just consumed by Han Solo because there are a lot of concerns. I'm looking at some somber faces right now just by mentioning Han Solo.
If it were like the Han Solo we know and love, Harrison Ford, let's talk about it. But no.
Well, no, it's not because this week what we're talking about, unfortunately, is the director duo stepping away from the project. Director and writer duo Phil Lord, Christopher Miller have left the film after 5.5 months of production. While reports vary on whether they were fired or decided to step away to consider other projects, it's very consistently found that the duo clashed with Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy and writer Lawrence Kasdan. The Han Solo film has been in production since January of this year and is currently slated to hit theaters in May 2018. Jesse, I'm looking at you because you are shaking your head in disgust. Your reaction is hearing those two have left the project.
Well, I'm just curious really what was going on behind the scenes. That's quite a ways into the project. There had to have been some major conflict between Kathleen and Lawrence for them to depart. There just had to have been a workplace issue there.
We want to thank StarWarsNewsNet.com for a lot of the news that we talk about on our show, but specifically this topic, because if you go to their site right now, you can find a really great breakdown of basically they found all the sources that are revealing information, and they're saying that it was a clash on the approach to the film. Phil Lord, Chris Miller wanted to do a comedy in the Star Wars world with Han Solo, with that character. That's not what Disney wants. That's not what Lawrence Kasdan wants.
I think a lot of people want that anywhere.
So, Nick, what did you want? Because if it's conflict of tone, what are you wanting to see out of this movie?
I mean, we talked about it before. We're like Rogue One. We love that kind of gritty, dark side. I mean, I think that's what we want. I mean, being a smuggler in the Star Wars universe cannot be a glamorizing, funny thing. I mean, you have to imagine there's got to be hardship. There's got to be hardship in there. There's got to be heartbreak. There's got to be terror involved with that. I don't think you can constantly laugh it off.
Especially if you follow any of the expanded universe stuff, even the legacy information, you know that the underworld is exactly like Nick. It's not a pretty place. I mean, there's a lot of great, awesome, and probably adventures going on, but I mean, you've got bounty hunters, you've got the Hutt Cartel, Black Sun, all these things from the expanded universe. So yeah, I want that gritty feel out of this movie.
But we got Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the big two titles in their repertoire before they took over on this movie. When I took over, they got it. They got the gig. Was the Lego movie, right? No, it was Lego Batman, and it was
the regular Lego.
The regular Lego movie, and it was 21 Jump Street. I mean, you know what these guys are doing going into this movie. It's documented on how when they get to set, they like to do all the improvising with their talent. I feel like a lot of the complaints that we're hearing on the internet right now is what we expected to happen on this set. David?
So, I'll be completely honest. I'm so unenthused for this movie that I didn't realize they were even tagged to this film until I got the show notes a couple days ago. But they're known for their improv. They like the banter that happens on the set. Don't put your head down at me. I read the stuff you send me sometimes. But that's what they do. They would have worked great with a Robin Williams type character in any sort of situation. But they want that improv. They want the natural banter back and forth. And that's not how Star Wars has worked. I mean, we have such cheesy lines like, I love you and I know.
That's not cheesy. That is a great line.
Oh, that also
if Han
was
Solo
improv,
says,
though.
I love you too, everyone's just going, that's not what he would say. I'm just saying.
That line was improv too, but I mean, you look at what Star Wars and what Disney want, and they want something that's to the script. They don't want to go off the rails. They don't want to take left turns and right turns, and then finally figure out how to shoehorn it back together. Kasdan's been writing Han Solo for close to 3 decades now. I think we need to trust their judgment.
And it's interesting because the person who first voiced concerns to producers, I believe, was Alden Ehrenreich, the guy who's playing Han Solo. And this is a guy who is clearly investing.
Which makes me feel better about him. I know we kind of griped on him a little bit, but if he's showing concerns about his character, like that makes me a little bit.
Because the guy's investing, like he's putting his heart into the role. I mean, he's an actor, so he's investing himself. And if he's got issues, that does say a lot.
I'm hoping he's not just listening to like commentary online, though. I'm hoping he's not just letting that get to him. But I mean, if he's legitimately having concerns about if, say, for example, this is kind of a comedic thing, and he's knowing this is not how Han Solo would be, I mean, that's great. I love hearing that. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
Well, Han Solo he's a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
He's something that a lot of guys go, yeah, that's me, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so he's having to step into place and everything. He has to fill this role right, and if it's making him uncomfortable, if he feels like what he's doing isn't going to deliver, I'd be concerned too.
Here's my thing. I don't think of Han Solo as a funny character. He's kind of an asshole, for lack of a better term, who has funny, humorous moments. Like, he contributes to that. When he talks down to other people, it's really funny. Think about A New Hope when Luke is trying to figure out how to use a lightsaber. Okay? That scene, he's not really funny. He's just being an ass, and we find that funny. David, do you agree with me on this? Because I've never looked at him as a clown. He just has those funny moments. I don't see a comedy being the right genre for this film.
I don't either. I want to see smugglers. I want to see shootouts. I want to see him stealing things and dropping them off to seedy people. And, I mean, we already have one strike against the movie, that it's not Harrison Ford. So anything that the actors, the production team, the creative people can do to really make me believe that I'm watching a young Harrison Ford, they need to do that for me.
Well, what about this, too? Because we mentioned the improvisation that's happening on set, or was happening on set. Sorry, RIP. Their style was to improvise on set. Well, Lawrence Kasdan doesn't like it when you improvise too much with his script, and that's what was happening. They're saying that as much as 70% of this film has been shot. Okay, they're saying that major reshoots are expected because they're having to bring someone on. We'll talk about Ron Howard in just a moment. But to me, that is so alarming when you think of all that work done. I mean,
you like I said, we talked about before. I mean, Rogue One, you had to shoot over 40% of the movie again. So I mean, it's not out of the question having to reshoot a lot of things and redo a lot of work, but it just makes you wonder how much has this derailed from the initial vision to the point where they have to redo everything. Are we talking like
and that's where my frustration comes from, because it's like if Lawrence Kasdan is saying, "Hey, you derailed too far from that script," how valuable is that 70% that's already been shot? How much of that is still usable? Because now you're going to come in with a guy who's apparently going to make it that more gritty or at least a more traditional Star Wars vibe film. That's what's concerning to me, because I think ultimately this movie has to get pushed back. Because we mentioned May 2018 release. I've always been in the mindset that this movie should have always been coming out in December anyways, because I like how Star Wars has dominated that month the last 2 years with Force Awakens and Rogue One. Before we jump to Ron Howard, you know what? Maybe this is the best time just to bring up his image right now and talk about the fact that Ron Howard is going to direct this movie. We know that at the time of recording this podcast. We talk about a guy who has given us Apollo 13, Cinderella Man, and The Beautiful Mind. Can this guy pull off this movie by May 2018 with major reshoots needed, or is this thing getting pushed back to December? David, let's start with you.
I'd like to see it pushed back to December, just because I like that December Star Wars dominate that month. But if they're going to keep it still for May release, I think they can do it. Ron Howard's got a really awesome track record for the last 57 years-ish worth of TV and movies. If anybody can take this and bring it back where you want it to, it's going to be Ron Howard.
Jesse, are you concerned, though? Because an observation that we made before we started this episode was this happened quick. Phil Lord, Chris Miller left this project a couple days ago, within the week.
And Ron Howard's there.
And Ron Howard's right there.
So there were conversations in the background.
He's kind of a family friend in a way. There's images all across the internet, Jesse, of him hugging Kathleen Kennedy. Nothing inappropriate, just they're at an event and they're hugging. I felt like I need to clarify. The point is, they seem to really whip him out quick. That's not the right phrase to use there. Well, they have him. How did they make it happen so quickly?
Well, I think David's probably right. I think probably some red flags were thrown up. Obviously at some point, obviously you have an actor voicing a concern about it, and so I think they started really kind of, okay, well, who's on the market right now? Who can we get, and who would be suitable for this film? As far as the timeline, I'm a fan of a December release because for me, holidays are some of the stressful points of the year. So seeing a Star Wars film during Christmas that's my Christmas present. Screw everything else. I'm gonna go sit down and enjoy my favorite franchise. So for me, I'd like to see them actually push it back just to make sure that they're able to deliver what everybody's wanting.
I'm gonna go with you on that one. My thing is that I like December so much because I'm now in this rhythm of seeing a new movie, a new Star Wars film in December, and then I get to kind of cool down from January until about March, early April. That's when the first trailer will sometimes drop, and then I can slowly build up my excitement and anticipation for that next film. I'm kind of in a weird position right now because we're getting excited for Episode 8, but 6 months after that, we're going to have Han Solo, and it's I don't know, I feel like it's going to lead to burnout, and that's what I feel this is all heading, because there's some rumors that we're soon going to get 2 Star Wars films a year. You're going to burn out the franchise. You're going to burn out the fans. And if you burn out the fans, there's no more franchise because the ticket sales go down.
Yeah, I don't really mind. Whenever it comes out, it comes out. It does not matter to me. As long as it's a good movie. I will say that I'm sure retailers are probably loving this December release thing because, your hot ticket Christmas toys are, probably Lego sets from Star Wars and lightsabers. And, the retailers probably love these December releases because they make boatloads of money off the stuff. So
I think it's fascinating to note, and David, I'm going to pitch to you after this, is the fact that there's a lot of debate whether I want this movie to happen or I don't want this movie to happen, but it is so apparent that people care that this movie just even exists because of the reaction on social media. I definitely think it's worth everyone investing time to discuss what's going on with Chris Miller, Phil Lord leaving, with Ron Howard getting on to the movie, because it's the Star Wars film, and the whole world is watching. You had something that you wanted to bring up.
As I think about it, I'm starting to get really kind of concerned about the budget behind this movie, because there's no doubt in my mind that Ron Howard's going to have a bigger price tag than Lord Miller. There's no doubt in my mind that they are going to do reshoots extensively, which means that they're going to spend more time on props and set designs and salaries. So I'm sitting here wondering, is Disney going to throw more money at this movie?
I don't think they will.
Or are they just going to let it flounder and see what happens?
Well,
I have a hard time believing they let it. I mean, that's probably why we mentioned this quick turnaround, is that they probably were thinking about it. They didn't want there to be a gap in no director. Yeah. They probably waited to release that information to get out when they had a new plan in place. They didn't want people to start speculating about this going.
They don't have a whole lot of leeway with making a bad film, because you make one bad film, you're losing the fan backing. You know, it's why there was so much pressure on Rogue One, and there was so much appreciation that Rogue One was such a great movie, because if Rogue One fails, there is such speculation and anxiety that comes along with every future standalone movie. But now even though it's that second film, I mean, it's the same thing with Force Awakens. Like, if that movie busts, there's no future in the Star Wars. You know, you're not having a $2-point-something billion movie worldwide. I don't know. I mean, I think they're going to throw money. My thing is, who's going to get credit for directing on this movie? Because the Screen Actors Guild, I mean, how do you look at that? Because you have these two that have done 5.5 months worth of production and all the legwork beforehand. Now you're bringing in Ron Howard to kind of clean things up. And, yeah, okay, so you're working with 70% of the film, and you're going to have to probably reshoot a lot of that, and plus the rest of the movie that hasn't been shot. I don't know. Do you give all three guys credit on the slate?
For me, I would give credit to Ron Howard. I mean, if he's having to go back and really clean this up, and then he should get the main credit. Now, I think you're probably right that somewhere in there there'll be some sort of credit to to these guys.
Right next to the gaffer.
Yeah, but but in terms of circle around a bit about production costs, I don't think they will have to. I mean, I'm not concerned about money flooding back in for like props. Okay, that stuff's already been put together. That takes months to put. Just to build. I can tell you that just from experience. But
whatever your production costs are going to be on any movie, you have to at least double it in order for you to break even.
Yeah,
and that's daunting. If you're talking about a film that you're gonna have to put, let's say, $200 million, $300 million, $400 million into, well, you've got to earn that back, before you can even start talking about a profit. That's a daunting task when you're half a year into shooting.
Yeah, so I'm not too concerned about in terms of having to rebuild sets or prop production or anything like that. I'm not concerned about that at all. I think really the issue here it came down to is the actual story that was being delivered. So if he has to come in and actually bring that back in line to Kazan's vision for this character, Howard should get, like I said, he should probably get 80% of that credit.
Nick, who do you give it to?
Yeah, the new guy, I think, for sure. And then 2 quick points before we move on. One thing, I think it's interesting that we're now like 6 podcasts in, and we have definitely spent, without a doubt, more time talking about this Han Solo film than we have about The Last Jedi, which is like 175 days away from this point.
Yeah.
I think it's just interesting that that's like right around the corner, and we've talked way more about Han Solo film. Also, when it comes to CG work and all that, props and stuff, that's one thing. But you think about the processing time and all the work. I mean, we live in the digital age where CGI is so much of movies now. I mean, how much of that do you have to redo, too? Because I think that will determine, to how much time that we have to go through and maybe delay this.
Absolutely, because that May 2018 release seems daunting now. I think it's almost like an automatic. You got to push it back to December. We're less than a year away from when this movie is supposed to happen, and they're basically going to have to shoot a new movie. I mean, that's essentially what's happening. It's going to be very interesting. I like how you mentioned that we've spent more time talking about the Han Solo movie than Episode 8, because we're going to talk about Episode 8 right now. There is a chance that we're going to get a new Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi trailer. This is from Reddit user nonsuch42, posted a link confirming that a trailer B has been distributed by Walt Disney Motion Pictures. Now, one, do you think this is a actual new trailer that we're going to get, guys, with new footage, or is it going to be rehashed film that we've already seen? And then secondly, when is this thing going to drop? Because we don't know. We're going to speculate. David, let's start with you.
I think we're going to get some new footage, but I think they're going to recycle some footage as well. It's just what they do. I think it's interesting that this trailer is scheduled to be shorter than the last trailer, at 1:30 as opposed to 2 minutes. So we'll see what they really do with this. I think it's going to drop during Spider-Man Homecoming, another movie in the Disney family, which I'm looking forward to that movie too.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be great.
if there's going to be a new Star Wars trailer, I mean, that's just going to be like icing on the cake.
Nick?
I mean, do we? I know they have those international trailers too, which is usually like the same thing, but just like again more random clips that we haven't seen before, which are like always the best.
6 extra seconds.
Yeah, it's like ooh. Well, the last one did have like that TIE fighter scene like in front of the sunset. Wasn't that the one that was only in the international trailer, like not the other one, or something like that?
I believe so.
So
yeah.
that was worth it. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. The Spider-Man movie that would make a lot of sense to me to launch it during then. I mean, this also could be like a TV related one. I mean, if they launch it, what kind of upcoming big events do we have? In, like,
D23
September,
is
October?
coming up in a couple of weeks.
You got a lot of Comic-Cons coming up too.
Yeah.
The big Comic-Cons
Oh,
are coming
that's
up.
true.
At the
I
end of
don't
the summer.
think they drop it during Comic-Con. D23, Disney that's their
Yeah.
thing, and there's a reason why they put it right before Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con. I think if we see a new trailer, it's there.
Or is this just the launch trailer? I mean, what if this is not actually one until like way out in December? Like,
I mean, we don't know. I mean, and that's kind of the cool part, though, is because I'm not hearing a whole lot of conversation anymore about that first trailer that dropped. There were some really cool moments in it. There were also a couple moments that reminded me of the last Force Awakens. It definitely looks like it's in that same vision, which is really exciting. But not many people are talking about it. I don't know. Am I overthinking this? I mean, is this really just going to be something we're going to see maybe in the movie theaters, and it's not going to be a new TV spot?
I don't know. It's interesting because it's shorter than the trailer that we got for The Last Jedi. So I think yes, we'll see some of the same footage, but I think we'll see some new stuff in there too. It's how they did it for The Force Awakens. We had that initial trailer, and then they had the new one. And I tore that thing apart looking for all sorts of things. And, I got really happy when I saw Force Awakens because there's a scene where it's when Rey is, kneeling next to Finn's body and everything. I was able to pick out that there is a brown leather jacket individual, so there's only 2 people wearing brown leather jacket.
I just
in that
imagine you
movie.
being the guy that goes up to the movie, the screen, and is just like,
Well, it's just one of
I need to see. Is this what you do?
Yeah, I kind of. Or I
just
sit
kind
there
of
and I
you overexamine
rewind
everything.
everything, But I knew right then and there that there was 2 characters, and that depicted in this movie, that were wearing the leather jackets, and that was Finn and Han.
So let's get back on topic though of this new trailer. So basically, we're all in agreement. This thing is probably going to be recycled footage, maybe a couple of clips that we've already seen, and most likely it's going to be in the theater.
Maybe a bad guy trailer.
A bad guy trailer?
Oh, yeah, a bad guy trailer.
How would that even look?
I don't know, because we've really just maybe a little bit more focus on the villain, maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that. Something a little bit more of Kylo Ren with the lightsaber. Maybe we get some more Phasma with her staff. Maybe we see those Praetorian guards that David you love so much.
I'm stoked
Why did you make that face at me?
because I'm really excited for them.
I'm going to use that face as excitement. Okay, let's go on to the next topic real quick. Colin Trevorrow had a very special request of Rian Johnson while Johnson was filming Episode 8. In an interview recently with MTV, Trevorrow says that he asked Johnson to shoot one extra little thing while they were at a certain spot. He doesn't say what scene it was. He doesn't say the location of where the scene was shot. He does also go on to mention that the script for Episode 9, the untitled film, is still actively in the works. And my thing is this: we hear about this collaboration happening between Trevorrow and Johnson. Very reminiscent, guys, of what we heard about J.J. Abrams and Johnson. Johnson asking for a quick edit to happen to that last scene of Episode 7. Are you guys encouraged? Nick, let's start with you. Are you encouraged to hear that this collaboration between the directors continues from 8 to 9.
I think it's kind of cool. I mean, it kind of shows that it's a kind of a happy handoff. It's not like a battle for like control of the film. It seems that there is kind of like a friendly conversation to be had going from one to the other, which makes kind of the continuity, I think, a lot better going from one to the other. So if anything, it kind of shows that there is that friendship, and it's an easy, it's not like a takeover of the next film.
Yeah, we talked about last week, David, how there's not really a plan for the Star Wars trilogy, that we're just kind of starting where the last director leaves off. How does this make you feel?
It makes me feel great.
Yeah.
It means that there's not much more to say. I think it's awesome.
Jesse, are you a man of fewer words than David?
I think it is a great thing, the willingness to work together and everything. I'd say my only complaint, at least in this case, it's being done smoothly. Okay, my issues is I went out and bought The Force Awakens, so now the copy I have doesn't have R2-D2. Okay, so for me it's like, so now I'm going to have to go get this eventual re-edit copy that will come out.
You know you're getting it anyway.
Wait. There's no difference at the end. The end
Is
scene,
there?
No, the end scene has R2-D2.
You're sure?
Absolutely. BB-8 wasn't in that last scene.
Challenge accepted.
BB-8 was left on the Resistance base planet.
He's on Poe, with Poe. We're
Yeah.
talking R2 here.
Yeah, but R2's at we're talking about the very last scene where she's on Octu.
Yeah.
Yeah, R2's there.
You sure?
Absolutely.
Either way, he's still going to get the next edition that comes out.
You're a sucker for merchandise. Let's go on to the next
Don't
topic
judge
because
me.
we have spent so much time in Real Talk because there's so much going on. But the last topic for this segment, Mark Hamill, to get a star on the Walk of Fame. Mark Hamill joins a 2018 class with a lot of stars, including Jennifer Lawrence, Simon Cowell, Steve Irwin, Carrie Underwood, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and the late comedian Bernie Mac. Hamill took to social media, and this was super cool on his Twitter. He just retweeted the Disney article saying #speechless. David, you hear about Mark Hamill getting the star on the Walk of Fame. Is this a thing where it's about damn time, or is this the right time?
For me, first, congratulations, Mark. Super excited.
I still want you to come talk about with us.
Taco Bell's a must.
I don't know. If he's got another star now, we have to go to a higher starred restaurant.
Like, we'll fly to you, man.
We have an Applebee's.
Well, that's appealing. So, but yeah, definitely want to say congratulations to Mark Hamill about this. But was it, though, the right time, or should this happen a while ago?
I think now's a good time for it. Could it have happened a while ago? Yeah, I think possibly. But when you look at his career, not just his Star Wars side of it, but his voice acting too, he's really taken a lot of characters and made them his own unique. Really, he's kind of set the standard for like the Joker for me. I know everybody likes
Avatar, he was in as well. The
he was in
cartoon Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, he's in that. He's pretty good.
So he's really, kind of dominated a bunch of characters over his tenure in his career. I think it's just very exciting that he's finally getting recognized for that in a more permanent fashion.
I like him now, Jesse, getting this star because not only did he do the original trilogy, not only did he have the Joker in the 90s, but the resurgence of Star Wars here in the 2000s. And it's kind of fitting now because with all the hype of him coming back for Episode 7 and the way they treated his character in 7 where he doesn't say anything at all, to me it feels like the right time. What do you think?
Here's the interesting thing. So, you've got the original trilogy, which was fantastic. And then Mark he disappeared into voice acting. Okay, now if you're a huge fan, and nerd and everything, yeah, you kept up with it. But I think with them actually jumping back and, continuing with the franchise and everything, it put the spotlight back on him and his achievements, for the general public. So I think this is actually the perfect time for them to put that on the on the street there, because he deserves it. Just in general, he's great with the fans. He's overall, in my mind, a very positive person and somebody that I think anybody could look up to, and he deserves this.
Nick, Jesse just brought up the whole very interactive with fans thing. Mm-hmm. Mark Hamill has liked a tweet of Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars podcast that you're watching right now, episode 6. I hope you're enjoying it. Nick, do you... That's like a shameless plug. Yeah, he liked one of our tweets.
Which tweet?
It was like very early on. I think we posted a photo of somebody with like a lightsaber, or I don't know, it was something.
Can you show that to me, or do I have to get my own Twitter?
You should probably get your own Twitter account, so you can go check that out. But
too much effort.
Well, I'll show you after the show. Nick, just because we have that like limited connection with him, which is just the fact that he thought of our show for one hot second. What do you feel about him getting the star?
I think it's cool. I think he fought typecasting issues, which is probably why.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why he probably hasn't been there yet, is because he's really only known really for the Star Wars series, and so he hasn't had a huge touch with like the rest of Hollywood. I mean, you have Harrison Ford, who has a Walk of Fame, but I mean, he's been a lot of other things throughout his career. Mark Hamill's been very typecasted, kind of where he was. So, I mean, that makes sense that. It may have taken as long as it has. So, I mean, I'm excited. It's cool to see.
It's going to be super cool nonetheless, and hopefully we're able to watch him put his prints, or maybe he puts his foot, or I don't know what he puts into the cement, but everybody gets to put their puts the hilt in there. Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. Well, hopefully we get to see that online, or maybe we go travel in person. We're taking this show on the road. Is that a little overambitious? Maybe. Let's jump into the next topic.
I still want an outdoor episode.
The outdoor episode, it's not practical.
It is 74 and sunny today. What in the hell are we doing in the studio?
Because it's the studio. The lights. The microphones. The electricity.
If you close your eyes for a moment, David, you'll be outside.
I'm going to get you one of those little Tykes
and
pools.
It's lovely.
And we'll fill it up with water. And you can just...
splash around.
We'll put like a fan on it. You can hear the ripples.
Can we just get like a picture of the outside right there so I can look at it? And...
We need like speakers like birds chirping.
That would be awful.
Noises of Endor for David.
That'd be quite
the soothing
lovely.
sounds of Endor.
Oh, there we go.
The crickets chirping, the Ewoks drumming.
I don't want to go a step further with that. We need to go into the next segment right now. It's Pages, Pixels, and Panels. No, it's Pages, Pixels, and Pieces. Because we talk about Legos on this show, and we had to figure out how to fit it all in here. So let's, though, first start with Pages and Panels. Part of this because Darth Vader #2 came out, and it's right there on the set. I don't know. Do you want to grab it? Do you want to?
Let me read it again. I haven't actually read it yet.
You want to look at it? Yeah. So
Nick's
for those
read
of
it
you,
on
if this is
camera.
your first time watching the episode, we'll talk about comics on the show, and then Nick doesn't look at them until we get on the show. And so he reads it as we go. And so it's really great because we'll be talking about something and he'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm on that right now. This is really great.
Just that random outburst. Oh, this was fantastic.
Oh, no, yeah. I want him to enjoy it.
Arc Fighters on the
So we're going to talk about this comic as long as it takes for him to read it. He might read quickly, so we'll extend it. The whole point being is Darth Vader #2 hit store shelves this last week, and it is an incredible next issue after that first issue that we liked so much. Stumbling over myself because I'm just really excited about it. I don't want to give too much away, but I know David and Jesse, you both have already read this comic. It starts off with where we left off Vader, who is on this hunt to find a Jedi that he must kill, and he must earn the Kyber crystal so that way he can make that crystal bleed and create his lightsaber. That's the first arc of this new Vader series with Charles Soule at the helm, is that we're learning how Vader created his lightsaber, his red lightsaber. It's a very year one story arc. Goes to this old Jedi outpost, and he comes across clone troopers. And really, basically, for 22 pages this week, we get to see Vader wreck. He slaughters clone troopers. We learn about some new pieces of canon. We'll touch on that initially, but let's just get... I'm going to stop rambling. Jesse, what did you think of this issue?
I actually... There's some things that I like, and there are things I don't like.
All right, let's start with this. Give me your positives. Just your positives.
Okay. In general, anything... I love clones in general, so... Yeah, that's just me. It's my... Because, I mean, they're basically Mandalorians. No, but, I mean, it's great because this journey that Vader's on, basically, it's reminiscent of some of the stuff that's mentioned in the Expanded Universe, how the Sith would basically... You had the Master and the Apprentice, and the Master would basically assign this almost impossible task to their apprentice. He's basically unarmed. He's having to rely strictly on his force powers to basically find, and that's what's really intriguing to me. He's like, he's got to find a Jedi. This Jedi's probably got a lightsaber. He doesn't. Okay, so I'm excited to see this coming is when he actually does take on.
I don't want to give too
Jedi.
much away from this comic, which is something that I actually have a reputation of doing, is giving too much away. But he does use... So what the clone troopers are doing at this old Jedi outpost is they're taking inventory of all the Jedi belongings. And there's lightsabers kind of like galore over there. And the one clone trooper is playing with one, that ends up being the thing that Vader helps use to slaughter him.
And that panel is beautiful. Darth Vader standing there, getting ready to wreck, and he's got a green lightsaber instead of his traditional red.
Before Jesse just starts
beautiful.
complaining about this issue, David, can you tell me what you liked about it?
Well, I love that one panel.
That one panel?
Well, I like most of the panels, but
Okay.
that one in particular is very beautiful. I like where the story is going. I like how it picks up. At the end of the last issue, he had wrecked the guys at the outpost, and it starts this issue. He's in the ship that he got, and he's out in space flying there. I need to go back and reread it again. I've only read this one once. Why does he kill the clone troopers, though? Why they're all in the Empire now?
I think it's a thing where Vader is having he can't balance the emotions. So this is brand new Vader.
I feel so bad for these poor clone troopers.
I know all they want is to go become part of the Praetorian Guard. Get their red helmets, stand next to the Emperor because he's awesome. Empire did nothing wrong, and then Vader kills him.
I think it really is Vader not knowing how to balance his emotions because when this issue starts, he's getting this incoming transmission from the outpost saying, give us your codes, and he has the codes to tell them that he's okay, and he doesn't. He chooses to wipe out the Arc 170s at the beginning. It's a sweet battle panel scene. I'm just going to spoil everything, I guess. I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
But they destroy
Sorry,
them.
spoilers.
He
Put up the
lands.
little screen.
He kills all the clones on there, and he's just trying to find his place. I mean, I really look at Vader right now as kind of a victim to his emotions because it's all a whirlwind right now. I mean, he's just going on rage mode, and everyone that we've seen in the last 37 pages, I think it is, he kills. Like everyone he comes into contact with, he murders. So that's my take on it. He's just, and that's what's so great about Charles Soule's writing with this comic is the fact that he really gets you in his mind, and he also explores the lore, which I like. Barash Law, I believe I'm saying that right. I might have to be corrected. Barash Law is the idea that Jedi would take an oath for them to step away from the Order, and in times of crisis, they wouldn't participate with the Order at all. So like in the case of the Order 66, the Great Jedi Purge, they would feel that tremor in the Force, but they would not act on it.
Well, he finally gets a lead of where he needs to go next to find a Jedi to kill, and I find it interesting. Are we continuing with the spoilers?
Yeah,
Is that cool?
we might as well.
The Jedi that he finds left the Order because he felt he was too violent. He couldn't stop fighting. So now we have Vader, who's still unarmed, because even though he does have that lightsaber for a bit, he drops it in the middle of the hallway because he knows that's not the saber for him. And he's got to go find this Jedi, this former Jedi now, who's basically leaving because he couldn't stop killing people.
Yeah, he's a war machine, and I don't want to give everything away, but I really like how they went about doing this. Jesse, when I brought it up, did you struggle? Like, did you not like it?
There were certain elements that I didn't enjoy. I didn't like the idea of the clone. They kind of gave like a joking, non-serious tone to these clones in this issue. To me, that doesn't fit too well with me because it's just like these are military trained guys. The other thing, they're talking about already being retired. The war just barely ended. So it's just like there's a little bit of a timeline issue there. This is happening, right after Revenge of the Sith with Vader getting off the medical table, and these clones are already talking about, maybe we'll get that Red Guard outfit.
Well, here's my response to that. As far as a clone trooper personality, we've watched 5-6 seasons of the Clone Wars. We've watched Rex continue on in Rebels. These clones, while they are clones, they had individual personalities. Dave Filoni, that was a priority of his, was to introduce you to a variety of these clones over the series and get you to fall for them because they are unique. They are clones, but they are unique personalities.
So,
and your second point, what was your second point again?
I didn't. It's for me, it's a continuity issue here because they're already talking about retiring the clones.
Okay, so then let's throw it back to the last issue. So we did a full comic breakdown of Darth Vader #1. We've all read that one. There's a decree on the steps of the Jedi Temple where Masamada is saying the Jedi have been defeated. They are evil. The Emperor is in charge now. It is a new era. It is the Galactic Empire. We had a scene similar to that in the end of Revenge of the Sith. So I feel like the word probably gets around really quickly. And when you go into the Clone Wars and you'll try and learn a little bit more about Order 66, Order 66 was not just what we saw in the movie, where the Palpatine dials up the clones and says, kill the Jedi. There's a lot of different elements to that. It is, the Jedi are dead. They're no longer your leaders. These are your new objectives right now. There are a lot of different components to that. And I don't know, maybe I'm over-invested. I think that this comic series is doing a really great job of with that continuity.
Well, I mean, like I said, I love the issue. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's just one of those things where these clones are still, as we know from Rebels, that the clones age at a rapid rate. Okay, but these clones would still technically be in their prime and still, I guess you'd say serviceable for like the next 10 years, and they're already acting like they're already getting discarded. So I mean, it interests me to see what's coming in the comics, if they kind of branch off and mention that a little bit more, or even if that's coming in maybe a different series. But to me, it's kind of like I said, it's a little bit of like, okay, this is like day 2 after Order 66. What's like, why are they retiring clones so soon? That's what's interesting me. And if they,
well, by my count, the CIS has already been shut down. All the droids are gone.
Yeah,
the Jedi are gone. There's really no big enemy anymore, so they're really kind of being converted into like a police force as opposed to a military.
And we know they get phased out. I mean, we know that by A New Hope that the majority of those clones are basically, they're just on the Death Star. They've all been not sentenced there, but that's where they're reported.
Well, you see that's changed though, and that's what's changed with the canon is with the old Battlefront 2 game. That's what.
Oh, that's right.
That's where a lot of us were stationed here. That's changed because they introduced clones age at a more rapid pace, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
but I mean, you go through those movies, and even if it hasn't been outright stated, you can hear in those troopers' voice. It's not the same voice. I mean, there's a lot of disparity there.
I want to say that it's plausible that maybe there are still some clones, at least around the time of New Hope, in the Imperial Army. But I'd say probably after the first Death Star at that point, given the lore that we've been presented, they're definitely probably no longer in combat. Now, obviously, we've got the thing with Rex potentially being retconned into Jedi.
No, that's confirmed. He is that
So,
guy.
I mean, interesting. If it just depends on what we see have coming, really. How does Rex survive that long? I mean, if he's aging rapidly, I mean, just think of the timeline here and everything,
Well, I mean, they do. Well, okay, so this is getting way off topic, but I do want to respond to that in the sense that you watch Star Wars Rebels, he is that age. Like, he is that guy we see in Return of the Jedi. There's only a couple years off from that movie, like 6. So I think it's pretty consistent. You finished, Nick. You just finished the
Well
comic.
done, Nick.
What are your thoughts about it?
I loved it.
Yeah, why?
I like clones a lot, and so it's kind of cool seeing the clones kind of interact with Vader. It kind of brought a little tear to my eyes seeing the ARC 170s and the blue blasters. Makes me happy inside. I'll leave it at that. I won't say too much.
No, I think it's awesome. All right, great. So you read that. I think we can all safe to say while we have our different views on
I
this,
still loved it though.
We still loved it. This is a great comic. Make sure that you go out and support your local comic book shop and pick up this comic. It is fantastic. Darth Vader issue number 2 came out this last week. Issue number 3 comes out in July.
That came out early too, didn't it?
It did. So originally that was supposed to be, I think, July, like early July.
A monthly. Are we going bi-monthly now?
No,
it's July 21st.
It's monthly.
The next one.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got 2 in June. That's not a bad deal.
Should put up the Christmas lights. We got a little extra present.
I don't think it's gonna happen, Dave.
You're so dedicated. We're going to the next topic of the segment. We are in pages, pixels, and pieces, and we're talking pieces right now because there are some new leaked images of some new Last Jedi Lego minifigures. And what we get is Finn. We also get, let's see what else we get. We get the First Order shuttle pilot, and then we get a close-up of Snoke. And it's in the show notes. We're not going to show these images on the screen just because, unless it's official from Lego, we don't want to show it because we love the people at Lego. And so let's start with that first image of Finn.
They're already being taken off slowly but surely by the web, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure.
Backups exist, so you can find them, but not as easy.
The Finn figure, he looks scared. Anybody have an opinion on this? to help everybody out, what we'll do is we'll put in the description below. We'll put a link. StarWarsNews.net did a story where they collected some of the photos. So
we can embed them. That's fine.
Yeah, you can go check those out there. We don't seem to care about Finn. I think the First Order shuttle pilot is no big deal.
Afraid and like heavily breathing.
They really make him look like a bitch.
Yeah, I think he has anxiety issues, like major anxiety issues. Like
he gets so brave though. You gotta give him credit. Like he charges at Kylo. He's going to defend Rey's honor or his own honor because Rey doesn't ever appreciate.
He's definitely
his
not
chivalry.
a coward though, but he just seems like a very jittery individual.
Doesn't handle stress well.
Maybe that's why he left the Stormtroopers, because anxiety is not covered by their health insurance plan.
He's probably the guy
classic.
that had the office pop with the blaster, like sitting at the desk and got,
Maybe it's like PTSD from like something like.
Oh.
Is that a pre-existing condition? Because maybe that won't be covered. All right, let's talk about the third image though, which is the Snoke image. And I'm so I wish I could show you this. I really do, because this image is way better than what we have seen before. It's not Snoke in gold robes. It's Snoke in a black cloak. He's gray-faced. Some, whatever the Lego print is to show disfiguration in the face. You guys see this? Are you guys a little bit more optimistic about this? I mean, there's only so much you can get from a Lego figure.
Well, I'm to me, Snoke screams a little bit more dark side than anything. So the original figure that we saw last month, roughly, with the gold robes, it was really I wasn't happy about it. It seemed too happy for the character. So like I'm excited to see something a little bit more reminiscent of like Palpatine's robes and everything.
I can get down with that. Nick?
Yeah, it's cool. Whatever.
All right, great, David.
I'll be honest. When I first saw it, before I read the caption, it kind of looked like an old Darth Vader. So
kind of.
That's where my mind went first before I read the caption, where I realized it was Snoke. I'm also excited to see when we see Snoke in the movie. He's like that really big thing, and then we realize it's a hologram. But the Snoke is like this big, like the same size as all the other Star Wars. So maybe he's just a normal-sized person.
Would that make you feel better about it all?
A little bit.
Oh, give you a little comfort?
It's not like World of Warcraft, where the taller you are, the more important you are. I'm still short.
I'm still nervous. I mean, like I said
Fortunately.
before, you're not going to get too much from the Lego minifigure. I guess Snow just makes me nervous, one, because I don't know what they're going to do with them. They don't even seem to know what they're going to do with them. And I don't like the idea of him being a practical effect. I just don't think that's going to make a lot of sense.
Where's Sakura today?
I'm not sure where Sakura is. Do we need to look for Sakura? Where's Sakura?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I do know that I want to buy an Arc 170 now after watching the Darth Vader comic, and they're like $180.
Dude, those sets were so legit when they first came out in 2005 when Revenge dropped. Dude, the Arc 170, I wanted that set so bad, but at the time of release, it was like $75.
It's $190 right now on Amazon.
Nick,
Gets
get
a lot.
out of my brain, because I did the same thing actually. Because it was like, man, I kind of like these better than X-wings, and lately I've been kind of like.
You take an X-Wing, and you're going to build an additional 2 cockpits on that son of a bitch. That thing is a sweet ride.
I just love the Revenge of the Sith, like they go in like a tactician, just
Yeah.
the wings pop up.
But right now I'm like debating between that and Slave Ones. But Lego, if you want to hook us up with a handful of these leftovers, if you have them, that'd be great.
Or 4 of each.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with freebies. Speaking of Legos, we'll jump to the next topic. There's no graphic for this. I'm just going to pull this off of our interactive set. Do you have yours?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, okay, so this is what's going to happen. The next topic is a Lego build race. We took 2 of the Lego sets from the last release series from Lego, and so I've got the Darth Vader transformation, and then Nick has his clone tank that he showed off last
Republic
episode.
fighter tank. Jeez.
And it's missing Ayla Secura because it's somewhere on set. And just a reminder, if you have found Ayla Secura on our set this week, last week, write that down. After you have the first 5 episodes location of where she's at, email us at beyondtheblastours@gmail.com, and you will enter you for a free drawing. We'll enter you into a drawing for a free comic. The point of these sets is we're going to build these sets tonight. I'm really excited about it. We're recording this cast on Saturday, and so tonight what we're going to do is we're going to set up we're going to have a modified set, build these. We're going to do time lapse. We'll do a race to see who can build first. So be looking for that to drop on either Sunday or Monday this coming week. But really excited about it. Your set has what, 305, 320?
305.
305. I have 282 pieces in this. And what we'll do is we'll build them and we'll also review them. I'm really excited. Like we talked last week, this set is way better than its original that came out in 2005. Just a lot more detailed. I'm really excited about it.
If you guys are racing, Nick has to disassemble his blue girlfriend, so that way it's a fair fight. You know,
Do we need to be concerned about Ayla Secura and your infatuation with this character?
She's just awesome.
next
Okay,
week's episode is an intervention.
It's nothing more than she's awesome.
Okay. As long as it's healthy, that's all I care about. Because last week we had some health issues with Jesse. You know, he becomes the Mandalorian character when he's in his cosplay.
It happens.
I'm just concerned about everyone's health. That's going to do it for Pages, Pixels, and Pieces. We're going to jump now to Stash It or Blast It because this show is long. We knew that going in. Had a lot to talk about. Stash It and Blast It is the segment of the show where we're presented a topic and then we all decide if we're going to stash it, we're going to keep it, or blast it because we hate it. It's basically our take on buy or sell. Our first topic of the segment, Ashley Eckstein, Matt Latner have laid voice work for an unidentified project. We know this because Eckstein tweeted out a photo of these two together. I believe it was like on Monday of this past week. No confirmation what this project is, and it could be those Force of Destiny animation shorts that they're doing. They announced that. I'm trying to even remember when that announcement dropped. I just remember them talking about how we're going to have these shorter clips for the kids. They will be canon. Maybe this was at Star Wars Celebration. I think that's where it was. At Star Wars Celebration, they talked about this. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, does this excite you? These are the two of the three lead voices from that Clone Wars series that we love so much. Jesse?
Maybe this is a little out there, but maybe Dave got permission to finally finish the rest of the just to bring it to closure because we know that they kind of cut it off drastically.
There was no end to it. Spoilers.
It kind of cuts. Sorry.
I finished.
So I think this would
guys.
be a really great if this was maybe even like a short movie because
Yeah.
I mean we know that.
We know how that first movie went. I don't know if that's the answer.
If you
to
read
this.
the Ahsoka
Jesse,
book,
I don't think a theatrical release is a solution. Dave, it's not a solution.
we know with the Ahsoka book we get a little bit of Ahsoka's what happened with Ahsoka after, and everything.
After that series, right?
So it'd be kind of nice to maybe if we had something to kind of maybe just really just bridge that over even more. Or this could be Rebels related.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've been seeing that Ahsoka Lives T-shirt. Maybe we're gonna get like an in-depth that confrontation between the two.
Man, I don't know because season 4, I think production is almost done and all that. Like I think the first half of the season 4 is already done.
You're breaking my heart.
I'm sorry, but season 4 is the last season. We know that.
You're not gonna choke me out.
I'm trying to go to Clone Wars. I'm trying to think of what I wanted to say to that. David, it's okay. There is an end. Basically, what they did was they basically cut out a lot of the content and they just finished. Like you kind of get a bow tie to the series, but you don't. I'm not spoiling anything for you. I'm just telling you that there is an end. We all miss out on some stuff. There's this guy on Twitter. I'm glad you brought this up. There's this guy on Twitter that's what he is.
Did anybody say anything?
He's just like bring back the Clone Wars.
Who brought that up?
And his whole mission in life is to be noticed by Dave Filoni, I think, and let him know that he needs to bring the series. I think Dave knows he wants to bring it back. But check him out because he actually has incredible theories of why they should finish that cartoon. I don't know. I mean, are you excited about it, Nick?
I think so. Before we talked about how they would just kind of let it go and not bring up the Ahsoka thing, I think that's a Star Wars thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. With this, I would not be surprised if there is kind of a grand finale with Rebels.
So you think there's still time to make it happen?
I think
so,
if they wanted to make it happen, and this is maybe some type of inclination that it might be, I think it's definitely possible.
Okay. All right, I can roll with that. David, are you indifferent? I mean,
Ahsoka lives.
I'm indifferent, but I'll stash it with everybody else.
Yeah, I'll definitely stash it.
Unanimous stashing. We like that. We like that a lot when we can all agree on things.
Is this the first time we've stashed something?
I think it might be
think
the first
so.
time we've actually...
I have.
We intentionally try and grab ridiculous things.
We do.
So we can...
Jesse likes to incinerate things.
Disintegrate. Sometimes I like to carbon freeze it just in case, save it for later.
It's a Mandalorian.
It
thing.
is.
If you notice, it's always Mandalorian.
It's all that works up here.
You know what? I'd rather be Mandalorian than having to be Hayden Christensen. And let's go and transition to the next topic.
Whoa.
That's all I can do right now because
Wow.
he's getting.
Shots fired.
Oh man, this is a lot of pressure. I like Hayden Christensen. I think he was the right pick to play Anakin. Don't think he had the right script. That said, in an interview that he did recently with comicbook.com, it came up, are you going to tell your daughter that you're Darth Vader, that you play Darth Vader? and it sounds like he's not, or at least he's going to wait a very long time. Guys, do you stash it or blast it? If you're Hayden Christensen, do you tell your daughter you're Darth Vader?
How do you? Do you set your daughter on your knee and bounce her up and down and say, sweetheart, we need to talk about that time that Daddy killed all the younglings?
Yeah.
How do you have that?
Oh, Jesse, I think you're going to be a terrible parent. You want to tell the kid right away?
Well, I mean, no. It's like, if you go on to read this article, his daughter is 2.5 years old. I have a niece, and so she's very impressionable, and she takes things at a very, she sees something and it's real.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the movie for the first time when I was 3, and I turned out fine.
Growing up, I had a subscription to Star Wars Insider. I think there was an interview in there with Mark Hamill, and in this interview, he mentions how, his kids, when they see him get his hand cut off in Empire, they thought that was real.
So did I.
It's not, Dave. I'm
Okay.
sorry. But
Damn it.
Here's the thing, though, is Hayden is playing, in the prequel films, despite what you think, there are some very dark moments in Attack of the Clones and, Revenge of the Sith. We have the Tusken Raiders. I mean, he cuts down a whole tribe.
But we don't get to see it.
Okay.
And that's the problem. We need to see him slaughter them.
I know, but he goes on to talk about it.
Make it R-rated.
Um,
That's how it should have been done.
But, I mean, that's the thing is you see this character, really just go down this, obviously, this very dark and horrible path and everything.
Daddy, why'd you kill all the kids?
So I think from a parenting standpoint, yeah, I think it's safe to say, well, wait until they're a little bit older to understand real from fiction.
Is it ridiculous that we're actually discussing his parenting decisions on this show right now?
No, not at all, because, I mean, it's...
Because a lot of the fan base is ashamed by him as well? Is that... Here's my thing. Hear me out. If I'm that kid, if I'm the child, I want to know. Because how powerful are you on the playground? Some kid comes up and bullies you.
My dad's Darth Vader.
My dad's Darth Vader.
He kills kids.
And that's when
Have you heard of the move force choke? Oh, it's a bitch.
Yeah, well, wait until you try the force choke the bully, and then nothing happens, and you end up getting punched. But that's a whole different.
No, I don't. I think kids on the playground are going to have mad respect. Dude, your dad's on my shoe. Dude, I have your dad as an action figure at home. I don't know. I would want to tell the kid. He'd be the most popular kid
in
around.
general, I think I just sticking to it. I think it's good parenting.
All right, fine. So you're gonna stash it.
I'm gonna stash it because I think it's the proper thing to do. Because really, you add everything up together, just prequel everything we've seen of Darth Vader as a whole. This is not a good character. It's a very violent character, and I think from a parent, I wouldn't want my child to be potentially afraid of me.
Fair enough, David.
I'm stashing it. It's good to see he's making better decisions as a parent than he did as a Jedi.
Nick?
That's fair enough. I'll go on with stashing that as well.
Hayden Christensen, you have the Beyond the Blast Doors seal of approval for how you're choosing to parent your child. Congratulations from all of us. That's going to do it for Stash It or Blast It. That was a lot of fun. Now we're going to jump into a new segment. This is the first time we're having the Fan Comlink. We're going to tap the Fan Comlink. And let's first start off with, we're going to get this episode 9 news out of the way real quick. Because we have something that I want to make sure you know what, we're going to flip them. Because I want to make sure that we have time for this. So we have a new fan of the show, kind of. And so we're going to have a very serious conversation about this. I'm laughing because it's a huge misunderstanding. So Janina Gavankar is the lead voice. Well, she's like the lead in Star Wars Battlefront 2, okay? She's the voice actor, but she's also in the uniform. She's in the outfit to do all the animation work for it. I'm losing my train of thought because I'm making sure I word this all very carefully.
Green screening.
Well, green CGI, all that stuff. Yeah. So she found out about our last podcast. Now, we talked about how that Janina is playing Iden Versio, who is the title character. And we talked about how great it was that game is going to have a female lead character. And Nick had a really great observation about how it's interesting was the first word was that they're using a female lead as a video game when the majority of players, especially online, are male. And so you're really tapping into a demographic that probably is underrepresented in the world of gaming, and how it's really beneficial that we have this lead character. It looks like Iden will be a very powerful and convincing character involved with the Inferno Squad. But before Nick and we all engaged in a conversation that was very pro female lead character and
Also
very
pro Battlefront 2.
It was very pro Battlefront 2. Nick referred to her as a chick, and she's offended by that. She seemed disappointed in Nick's word choice, and so we're gonna get out
her name. It's not like a Dave Smith name.
Arguably, I will say that we didn't start that cast until about 1 a.m. and Nick here had just spent the entire day reporting bad weather.
Yeah, so like we're not apologizing for anything because I don't think that's necessary.
No.
I do want to encourage. Listen, if we can strike gold twice here, get lightning in a bottle. Isn't that the saying? Janina, if you can watch this cast again and go back, and like if you can get past the 5 seconds where he refers to it as the chick on stage, and you listen to the next 15 minutes where you talk about how excited we are for you to be in that game and how excited we are for the book and for you to be voicing that book. Now I'm looking over here. This is sincerity. Please give us another chance. I think you're going to like us. Also keep in mind, we're only 6 episodes in. We are still learning
Can we
to do this.
pull that segment and put it on our channel and just say, please watch this and, tag her in it, tweet it to her?
I think what we're going to have to do is we're gonna pull that and we'll make that a one shot and we can isolate that for her. Or do we put it in this cast?
No, I think we make it a one sign. Just say, call it, Janina, please watch this.
Okay.
I just want to reinforce, we really had a lot of positive things to say about, we love the female leads and everything that are coming to the franchise. It's something that's always been debated on just with the movies as a whole, so it is great to see this. I'm excited about this character. She looks like a badass. You watched the trailer and everything.
We said that.
We
said that.
Yeah.
You're a badass.
The only thing I don't like is Inferno Squad. I think that sounds stupid.
Yeah.
That's not her.
Operation Cinder, she's eating
yeah, by all means, definitely rewatch that segment because we really do have a lot of positive things to say about what's coming to the franchise.
We did something right because somehow she found it, and that's what I think is cool. And I'm going to take this opportunity to brag about ourselves. Like I just said a couple minutes ago, we're 6 episodes into this, and somehow or another, she stumbled across the episode. So that's pretty cool. Maybe we had the right video tag in there or something. But hopefully that we strike gold again. You find this video again, we tag you right, and you can know that we didn't mean anything by it. We really like you, and I'm
looking forward to Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2, yeah. We'd like to use you as an endorsement. What a change of events. She could go from thinking you're a sexist pig, Nick, to endorsing the show. That would be so great.
Can we invite her to join us when we take Mark Hamill to Taco Bell?
That would be great. Forgive and forget. We're going to Taco Bell. We literally will have to run out the entire Taco Bell facility now. This is getting too big. All right, so now we've gotten that serious topic done with. Let's talk about something a little interesting. This was posted on our Facebook page. A couple weeks ago, we talked about Colin Trevorrow and how to address the Princess Leia debacle. Do you kill her off in 8? Do you handle it off screen? Do you just mention it? Well, Shannon Owens says the following: I would say that you don't have to say anything, just have her not be in the movie at all, as though she was off doing other things, and just continue her story in the comics. Oh. Agree, disagree, guys. This would have been actually a really good Stash Strip Lasset, too, but we wanted to make sure that Shannon got tapped in the Fan Comlink. David, let's start with you. Do you ignore it completely and you continue it maybe in a book or in a comic?
If they do that, I don't think I would be upset, but I also feel like Carrie has been such an important part of the franchise that they do need to send her off more than just a little black screen that says, in memory of Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, I can roll with that. Nick?
Yeah, you gotta give her an honorable death, I think, in the movie. I think it's got to be something significant. It's, again, as I mentioned before, we talked about this 3 episodes ago. I talked about it might be one of the most remembered moments in cinema history just because of her role in that movie. They got to do it right, and yeah. I think the only way they would avoid doing it is if they don't think they can do it right.
And
but
remember,
I have faith that they could definitely pull it off right.
And remember, you and Jesse were of the mindset that maybe they aren't going to wait till 9; they're actually going to take her out in 8.
Yeah, so I think that's still a possibility. I think that would surprise everybody.
Maybe that's the scene that they asked him to put in the movie.
Maybe. I feel like...
Oh, now we're just going full circle.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh my goodness, that would be intense. If the fact that Johnson shoots that scene for Trevorrow, that's crazy. because like that's like going to be the scene of the movie, right? Like no matter what happens, Episode 9, it's going to be the death of Carrie Fisher, the death of General Leia. Oh man, that would be crazy. I could see her like sacrificing herself. As far as what Shannon was bringing up, which I think is a very interesting idea, because we have seen now, especially with this rebooted canon universe with Disney, is that they're not afraid to save stuff and tell you what's going on in the novel or in the book, or not the novel, the novel or the comics. I mean, it's an option. I don't think it would happen. Jesse, you have one last thing? Yes.
Honestly, I want to say that I'm with Nick on this. I want to see a send off for Carrie in 8, and I actually kind of think it's already been hinted at actually in the trailer that we've seen, because we see a lot of explosions on some sort of ship. We see Poe Dameron trying to get off a ship. Mm-hmm. So you've got a hotshot pilot and everything. You think that he would possibly be kind of close proximity to General Leia and everything. So maybe yes. In my mind, I think a space battle would be the best way to
have her sacrifice herself.
There's obviously this huge battle going on. Like going down with a ship kind of thing. I can understand Shannon's thought where yes, they could carry on the character through the comics. I just don't feel it would do justice.
It's too monumental of a thing
to Leia and Carrie Fisher.
It's too monumental of a thing to not have in that film. But my goodness, what a discussion that was. Shannon Owens, thank you so much, man, for posting on our Facebook page and asking that, suggesting that. If you ever hear us talk about anything on the show or see something that we post on our social media, definitely comment below, and maybe we just tap you in the Fan Comlink. We have the final segment of our show. We have arrived. I love this episode. I love the conversations that we've been having. Yes, David?
Art. Let's see the art.
Yeah, okay. So stay on target. This is the top. This is a segment
Stay on target.
We talk about the things that are they have our attention. And I guess we're going to be very nearsighted or near-minded or
Quit
whatever.
talking and open the art.
All right. So Nathan Greno, again, is a artist. He works for the Walt Disney. He's a director for the animation studio.
You know, if there's nothing in there and all we have is 2 Beyond the Blast doors, best
we'll
Nathan,
still frame it.
I'm still gonna, I mean, that
Absolutely.
right there.
I just think this is so cool. And it's crazy because, and I do want to give a little background. We have time. We have infinite amount of time.
Skip forward 1 minute if you want to see it.
Yeah, just skip forward 1 minute if you want to see it. It's just so cool because he found us early on and he just was like, hey, like your logo. And then we followed his art and we were like, we like your art. And he was willing to send us something. So I'll start taking off the rubber bands. I'm kind of nervous about this.
Nathan, I don't have Twitter, but I've seen quite a bit of it because they show me.
If it's a Boba Fett picture, I will eternally love you.
I'm going to tell you this, though. No matter what it is,
I'm still going to love it.
I'm just really excited. It was funny because we
take off the damn rubber bands.
I'm sorry. We did a photo.
Stay on target.
I'm trying to. Oh man! All right, I'm taking off the rubber bands. We posted a photo just of getting the package in the mail, and Nathan's like, don't expect anything special. So I think it's gonna be special no matter what because we really appreciate this. So we're gonna take the close up now, and this is it is, and I'm going to I'll take it off like this. I'm gonna try and see what the top is. Is it okay? This is the bottom, I think. Okay, because that looked like a foot. Okay, so I'm gonna take it like this. Okay, I'm gonna take it like this, and I'm just gonna take the front off.
You drop it on the floor, I'm gonna slap you.
Oh baby.
So what do we got? I want you guys to describe. I can't see it. What do we got?
Obviously it's an animated Luke.
Yeah.
He's an Empire.
Okay.
His Empire Bespin garb.
Okay. Yes.
He's got a DL-44 in one hand and a lightsaber in the other.
Oh God! I'm trying not to get fingerprints on it.
It's sexual. I am thrilled about this because Empire is my all-time favorite Star Wars movie. I love everything about it. So
pass it over this way.
Can I? Yeah.
We'll get the other camera
so
and you
that
can
I
see
can see it. All right, Nick,
Yes,
you hold. Can we try and just put the fingers on the bottom so we don't smudge it? Oh my God, that looks incredible. That is incredible. Can everyone see that? I mean, I think they saw it on the close-up. I hope I got a good shot of it because I didn't know I should look at it.
That's awesome.
That's gorgeous.
That's so cool.
It says on the top left corner, to Beyond the Blast Doors, guys, best, Nathan Greno. Look at that. That is incredible.
That's fantastic.
And what I love about it in the detail is, man, I kind of want to spin it around. Can we spin it back over here real quick?
There's like a blue glow from the lightsaber.
You guys want to go
Yeah,
you guys want to go to Hobby Lobby and get this
exactly.
framed?
Yeah.
I want you to look at that because the glow, just the detail of that, the glow of the blue saber on Luke. I like that crouch position. It looks like a pose that we've seen in Empire. I love how the blaster is withdrawn. It is just, this is awesome. And you know what's so cool about this? And I just be careful with it, guys. But I want you to be able to look at it. You know what's so cool about it is the fact that we did this just because we all had Star Wars in common. Wow. We just want to do the show because we're already nerdy about Star Wars in the first place. Why not just talk about it with our friends? Why not record it? Why not put it on YouTube? Why not put it on iTunes? Song.
That's good.
And it's like, to think that somebody saw what we do and was like, you know what, I'm just going to give them this. Mm-hmm. Nathan, that is an incredible piece. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And
we need to write a thank you note.
We'll write a thank you note because that's a professional thing to do.
I don't know if a thank you note's going to be enough, guys. Like, this is amazing.
I know.
We'll take you to Taco Bell, too.
You can come, too. Janina, Mark, Steven, everybody's coming. We're going to Taco Bell at Quincy.
I think if you've seen this image, so you now know, if you didn't already, how great Nathan is at drawing.
Well,
he says,
let's get this back up there.
He says, yeah. Can you hand that to me, Nick?
Yeah.
He says this is just a sketch.
Just a sketch.
This is just
amazing.
a sketch. I mean, that is so cool, and I really appreciate the personal note to this.
Is this a tip of what maybe?
This is really cool. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna have to remodel the set a little bit, guys, and we're gonna get this bad boy framed, and we're gonna put it right back here. I think we're gonna have to move around some things to make sure that this is always in the shot. A couple of things. You now know how great of an artist Nathan is. You know who Nathan Greno is. It's funny is because you want to say his last name is Greno, but as he told me, you say it like Jay Leno's last name, so it's Greno. But you know how great it is. Follow him. Like his stuff on Instagram. If you like his work, take a look at it. He does drawings of Marvel superheroes. He loves to do DC, especially Batman. He does a incredible incarnation of Poison Ivy and Harley. His style is Disney, but it also seems like it's from that Timverse, from the Batman animated series. Especially when you see his work of Batman, it seems influenced by Bruce.
You know what I'd love to see, so Dave? Good. I know this would probably be. You couldn't fit it on a small piece like that. What I would love to see though is that scene where Luke's kind of coming around the corner in Bespin.
Yeah.
And Boba's shooting down the hallway, so you've got like Luke in cover, but you've got like the
you just had to get Boba Fett mentioned
I know,
somehow. Like
no,
it's not
but
good
just
enough.
The artwork, like
this is perfect,
epic.
Nathan. This is awesome. This is really great. We're spending a lot of time on this because we want you to genuinely know that we appreciate this.
We've all got our phones out, like wow, like just cue, like seriously, cue Marvin Gaye. Let's get it on, just. Wow, I'm excited about because I sketch a little bit.
Yeah,
this is the kind of stuff that I'm interested in learning how to sketch. So just seeing it firsthand, the colors, the shading, and everything, guys, this is truly a work of art.
This is awesome.
Just wow.
Right, so where's the top for this? Okay, where's the rubber bands?
Don't cover it up.
It's beautiful.
Well, we got to keep it safe.
You are beautiful
in every single way. No, I know this. So
we're moving, I'm moving, so it's still kind of stuff.
Nick, if you ruin this, I will.
That's why we're leaving it here.
I will go full on Mandalorian on you.
Oh no, this is fine. We're gonna wrap this back up. I'm putting the rubber bands back on it right now. We are gonna jump ahead though to our next segment because this episode, as it should have, is running a little long. But man, it has been so good. I cannot get over this drawing that I have in my hands now. Let's go on to the next topic, and this is something that we're doing as soon as we finish recording today's cast. Cosplay Cantina is a new, we'll call it short, that's going to be on our YouTube channel, so a YouTube exclusive. I say that we'll probably give you teases in the episodes if you're listening on Libsyn or on iTunes. But Cosplay Cantina is going to be where we explore all things cosplay related, and I think Jesse is really excited about that because he's going to take the lead on this. We're all going to still co-host that when our schedules allow, but he wants to do education, and so we're going to educate you on how to do cosplay. And so what we're doing today later this afternoon is we're going to go to a local hardware store, and we're going to collect all the pieces necessary to construct our own lightsaber hilts. And I'm pretty excited about this. And Jesse, you were saying that we can do this under $40.
Yeah, like again, it kind of depends on how fancy you want it to be. You know, if you like a lightsaber from the franchise and you want to make something close, the parts are out there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing is, and that's where the price variable. The one that we displayed, I believe, 2 episodes ago. I did that under $20.
Yeah, but you had some extra pieces lying around. Right?
I had some extra Greeblies. I'll talk about Greeblies, obviously, in the Cantina short and everything. But in general, I mean, that was kind of a supply thing. That's really what brought that price up for me because I already had everything on hand.
Okay.
This is really a really nice. I was able to do this with honestly hardly any tools. You know, so you don't need anything fancy to do this.
Awesome. So what we're going to do on this is Jesse's going to start with giving us some tips and tricks of the trade, how to save you costs, whether you outsource and have someone just give you a new lightsaber, you build it yourself. Then we're going to go to a local hardware store. It's going to be a 2-parter. First, we're going to accumulate all the pieces, and then the second part will be actually constructing those hilts. And then what we'll do is we'll wait to show you the finished product on the cast. So what we want you to do is be sure that you're looking out for part 1. After part 1 will obviously come part 2, and then we'll have the final pieces, I think, for the set here. So that's really exciting. We're going to be doing that in just about a half hour from recording this podcast. So that's going to be great. This is going to be the end of the show. This has been an incredible episode 6.
It's been a marathon.
It's been a marathon. Like, I'm a little tired. I've been out of water for the last half hour, so I could use something to quench my thirst. Definitely want to say thank you to you guys for everything you guys have done so far through these 6 episodes, and especially for today, because we got to have a moment together, and I hope that you are able to enjoy that moment that we got to have here with Nathan's art, because that was pretty cool. It's like
it was a giant nerdgasm.
People are listening, and that's really cool. And people like dig what we're trying to do. So not bad for 4 scoundrels out of the Midwest.
Who are you calling a scoundrel?
I think it applies for all of us.
Me?
I want to remind you that you can watch us on YouTube, but we are on iTunes and Libsyn, so you can listen to us on the go, whether you're on your computer, maybe you have a favorite podcasting app. You can get us on your phone there, or again, you can watch us here on YouTube. Still trying to figure out live stream. We'll let you know as soon as possible when we figure that all out. Make sure you know Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that's where you can follow us. Shout out to the guys over at 3Wise Media because they've been super supportive of us. Joe, Sam, and Garrett had their latest episode out right now. You can find that on our Facebook page. And also while you're there checking them out, you can check out their sister cast, Movie Versus. That's going to do it for this week's episode of Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars podcast. These guys are awesome. We're going to go build some custom lightsaber hilts, or at least find the pieces. We'll see you soon.
That sounds so cool. I'm just so
I was waiting so long for us to say something. Wasn't that cool? I hope someone found Ayla Sakura too. And you didn't make your blaster point. You didn't. Boop, 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 boop.
Thought about it.